The app, available from the App and Play Store.
My name is Shabnam Sahi. I'm from Sunrise Radio, which is the #1 commercial station in the UK. And hugely excited to have the opportunity to talk about Superboys of Malegaon. And as I was saying to Zoya earlier, that, we talk about the stories that break on social media. We read what you have to say to the press. But to have the opportunity to actually have a conversation with those who make the magic happen is fabulous. So I'll start with you, Ritesh, first.
Thank you.
You're, of course, one of the founding members of Excel. And your brand of cinema, the films that you have championed, it has a certain vibe, it has a certain ethos. You've always pitched to the mainstream, but I love the fact that there's always something deeper than what you see on the surface. What drew you to Superboys of Malegaon? Why do you think it's a story that needs to be told to a wider audience?
It's a content creation company. We tell stories. And I think with every story which we identify or relate with, there is some kind of a connect, some emotional connect, and why you wanted to put your voice behind that. And I think in this it was purely Nasir, right? The time Zoya came and spoke to us about it after her first interaction with him, we were sold out on it on that day, which was almost 14, 15 years ago. And it stays true even today. We're as excited about it. It took a long time. But just the journey he went through with how he achieved what he achieved, he never gave up on what it is. And this, from Heartland, from a very small town, trying to do something which was unimaginable. So even at that point, 15 years ago, when she told us, I said, really? Like, he did all this? And obviously we knew of the docu, but the docu was more about him making the movie. But what he went through with literally no resources available, with this group of friends, like quirky group of friends, going about and trying to do something unimaginable and then achieving it was so inspiring. So I think Dad just said this has to be done and we have to champion it.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Zoya, you are celebrating 15 years in the film industry, right? Again, you, Reema, you're all part of the Bollywood sisterhood. And for us, it's so good to see that finally there's a feminine voice, there's a feminine perspective, and which is not being celebrated because it is feminine, it's being celebrated because it's so good, on par with everybody else. And looking at a story like this, I understand that now going local is the new going global, because this is the story of a guy who's like from the bylanes, from the dusty bylanes, and now you've put that story on stage. As a director, as someone who really knows the art of telling a good story, what do you think? What are you hoping the audience would take away from this film?
I think there are many, many things to take away from this film. Starting with no dream is big enough. You don't need to be given the perfect, ideal situation to take that first step. He just went out and did it. I think it's a story of friendship. I think there's the magic of cinema in it. The fact that it lives on, even though you've passed, which he kind of proved with Shafiq. And I think, like you said, I think it's a very big story from a very small town in India. But it tells you about how a movie made in the 70s in America, Superman, changed the lives of these 4 or 5 people in India in a small little town. And that's the thing about art. It just crosses any border, barrier, so it just brings people together.
Adarsh, coming to you now. You are, in a relatively short period, you've already given us phenomenal performances. And they say that this is the right time, the best time for anyone to be a part of showbiz, especially in India, because this is when you've got multiple platforms, multiple collaborations happening. You no longer need to tick that one commercial box to, get people's attention and their admiration. Now, I believe that you actually lived with this gentleman for a long time to get under the skin of the character. That's like proper method acting, right? So when it was first offered to you, did you need a bit of convincing to say, yes, I think I can do it, or I would like to do it? Or did you kind of leap at the opportunity?
No, I absolutely jumped at that opportunity. I feel like not everybody gets this kind of opportunity. I'm very, very, very lucky. Just by virtue of the names that were associated with it, each of whom I'm a huge fan of. To start off with Varun Grover, who's writing, I'm a massive fan of. Zoya, Reema, Ritesh, Farhan. It was very, very exciting for me to be playing a character as complex as Nasir, as beautiful as Nasir. I don't understand what method acting is because I've never studied it. And I don't have a method. I feel like my method with everything changes. I like to adapt and like to kind of think of how I would approach a new film each time and a new subject each time. I didn't spend as much time as I would have loved in Malegaon. It was 2 weeks. And sometimes, honestly, I start enjoying prep so much because there's no boundaries and there's no rules at all in prep, and you can fail as much as you want. And you know, I mean, of course, even on film, you get retakes and you can do a bad take and then you get a retake again. But I feel like there's a certain sense of a liberation that I feel when I prep each time. And it was amazing. It was amazing to be spending time with Nasir and to meet all these people from his past and to hear stories about how they started off. There's so much footage that Nasir played for me of not just his films but also like picnics that they went for, and then he shot those picnics, and he played me all those things as well. So yeah, it was beautiful.
Isn't it a bit of a double-edged sword? When you're playing someone who exists, aren't you constantly thinking as an actor, am I doing justice to what he would like to see me do?
Yeah, but that's a very dangerous territory to enter. And as you said, you have to stop yourself from thinking like that consciously. And also, it's not about mimicking a human being. Of course, there's a part of it that you embrace, the externality of it, the energy of it. Nasir, I feel like, uses his body and his hands much more to explain than his words. So there's a part of that, but I think the idea was also, as you know, Reema and me were talking about it, that to capture the essence of Nasir and to understand where he comes from and why he's doing what he's doing.
Yeah. Can I just say it's an enjoyable film. It really is a beautiful film. Reema, you're the person who's put all the nuts and bolts together and given us this beautiful story. And again, you've done all the research. You've created that period. You've, made this. I had no idea this gentleman even existed until this came to the forefront. And you're saying that obviously it's on the back of a documentary that already exists. So a very obvious question, nonetheless, I'd like to know, what are the challenges that you face when you're referencing someone who's for real, who's had this journey, and it's not just a figment of your imagination, you're referencing someone's life?
I think the first challenge was that the documentary was a beautiful documentary, and we kind of really wanted to go beyond it. And, we really wanted to figure out what made Nasir and what makes him tick. And, it's a toss-up between creative liberty for dramatization and being accurate and true to these people and the characters and their lives. Okay. Yeah, so with, when Varun kind of started, we were very, very conscious of the fact that this documentary was out there, and but we needed to find our own film. Yes. So we kind of decided to go completely, go with a blank sheet. Like Adarsh went to Nasir, Varun went to Malegaon, spent a lot of time there, met all the people. Nasir's, he's archived his own life, and we had a lot of information, like tomes of information to kind of derive, and that's how we kind of approached it.
So as the director, the person who's taking a final call, I'm guessing, with inputs from others, what was it about that story? What do you think is the main USP of this film? I know it's about friendship. It is about beating the odds. It is about chasing after your dreams and not allowing anything to hold you back. So I'm guessing that these are the themes which must have leapt from the page, right?
Because yes. And, Nasir is like a testament to human innovation and resourcefulness, When we started working on it, I found several parallels between myself as a director and Nasir as a director. Yeah. There were also other personal parallels. We're from the same generation. Our film influences were kind of the same. Yeah. I was crazy about Hindi movies. I was crazy about Bruce Lee movies. I love Chaplin. So there was a lot of common ground there. Yeah. And I'm from a small town, so I was able to, I think, appreciate the lack of opportunity and what made Nasir so special.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. One last question, and feel free, whoever wishes to answer this. I feel that, we are all of the same generation, and as broadcast journalists in this country, what's most exciting for us is the fact that finally we feel that we are being given entertainment that doesn't comply always with the same old, same old. It's really being disrupted by beautiful stories that take us to various places, and we're so excited about the fact that we've got all of you guys, who are really headlining the film industry right now. What do you think is the most exciting thing about being a part of entertainment, showbiz, Bollywood, whatever you want to call it, right now? What is it that makes you leap out of bed every day and think that, I'm so pleased that I have this platform, or I'd like to use this platform, perhaps to make something you haven't made, or what excites you?
I think it's like a huge free-for-all. I mean, anybody today can get up and make a film on an iPhone,
Is that good or bad?
That's amazing. I mean, when we were growing up and we wanted to make movies, we didn't have access to those tools to be able to do it. You really had to pound the pavement with your script, and you had to really fight for that break, and today you don't have to wait for that. And it's very exciting, and it's also very exciting to be able to tell stories in whether they're feature films, short films, whether long format, docu-series. I mean, there's an appetite for everything. Yes. You have streaming platforms that take your work anywhere in the world. I think it's a very good time.
I think as a storyteller, and you want to share your vision with people, you don't have to think about how am I going to get it discovered. Right now, you can think of an idea in the morning, shoot it in the evening, and it'll be out by night there.
Yes.
And it can mean anything. It can be on your own social handle. It can be on YouTube. All you need to do is just think, and you can make it happen.
Do it, yes.
Yeah,
Thank
but I
you.
think what gets us out of bed, and I can speak for all four of us, is a compulsive need to tell stories.
Yes, absolutely. And we're so pleased. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
for
Thank
your
you.
time.
Thank
I really
you.
love this film,
Thank
and I hope
you.
it gets all the love it deserves.
Thank you so much.
The app available from the App and Play Store.